Hi, I'm Adam Levine. We have a special guest on here today, my father and mentor, Dr. Stuart Levine. And I just want to say I'm so appreciative of everything that he has done for me. He has always been there to support me. He has been there for advice. He's been there for helping me achieve my goals in academics and in sports, especially wrestling. He's helped me through getting through college and ultimately through graduate school. Just wanted to say thank you so much for everything.
That's my responsibility.
I want to share with people the knowledge that you have given me. Everything from, the sports. You taught me a lot of wrestling moves. You're always drilling with me in the basement. You sent me to wrestling camps. You always had tutors for me. I remember my bar mitzvah. You had a tutor for me to learn Hebrew. It was very difficult. But when I was there, I read from the Torah fluently. And ultimately, the masters in real estate, you put me through that. And what really helped me make that decision was you. You really always told me to invest in myself. I used to always watch you managing your books, and I was always like following you like a shadow.
I find that appreciative. Thank you, Adam.
So that to me really means a lot. Dr. Stuart Levine over here, my father, he has over 30 years investing in real estate. He's owned a successful dental practice. He had a full ride to UConn, a full scholarship to UConn for wrestling. And then you went to
University of Pennsylvania, dental school. I was one of the first 10 students to get out early.
What made you get into dentistry? Out of all the professions out there, like how did you end up with?
Real quick story. That's what I always wanted to be. I was in the pre-med, pre-dent enrollment at UConn, and I had enough grades I could have gone to medical school, but I just said, just get me into dental. And I got into every school that I applied to.
Was there any people that you spoke with, like any mentors that advised the go that pathway, or?
I just got lucky meeting the right people. My college advisor talked to me. He wrestled at Pittsburgh University, and he followed me, and he says, "You're going to do fine." And he also was one of my professors. I took his course. It was public health bacteriology, and I aced it. And I remember asking him, did I deserve that A? He goes, absolutely. I said, okay.
I remember you always telling me that you were always studying.
Yes.
You stayed out of trouble. There's always people trying to steer you in the wrong direction, as in life.
That's correct.
And you always told me the same thing. I remember you telling me when I was a kid, you have two choices. Either, this is in high school, you get a job, or was the other one?
Go to college.
No. You said get a job or what? Play sports.
Oh, play sports, yes.
So then,
I'd rather you play sports and not get a job. Just enjoy your life.
So that's what I did. When you were in dental school and you graduated, did they teach you anything about finance, investing, how to open up a dental practice? Like, how did this all start?
No, they taught you how to do the procedures and do it correctly. As they used to say, the Penn way.
The Penn way.
Yeah. But no, you didn't get any real practice management courses or business courses or investing courses.
Okay. There was nothing at all. I mean, did they ever invite people to come to your school to maybe advise, or there was nothing?
No. But I did qualify for taking continuing education courses during dental school, and there was a couple of practice management sessions, but not like the real world.
What is your take on that? Like, why don't they teach you how to balance a checkbook, or because eventually you're going to be making money, you got to know how to manage it.
I knew that from before, how to balance a checkbook. No, but they assume you're going to learn that when you get out in the real world, but you learn it. Trial and error.
Trial and error. Okay. Give us a little history of what happens when you get out of dental school.
I applied for a job, working for somebody, and I was working in his office, and he was an older type dentist, more of an extraction practice. I was more of a, let's save the tooth, let's do a root canal, let's do a crown. And I was there for 3 months and he got ill. And I had to run the practice all by myself. And I changed the whole practice around while I was there. And we did financially better than he ever did by himself. I set all kinds of records in his office because we weren't doing his type of dentistry, or I wasn't. And then shortly after that, I met an old professional friend of mine from Penn, and his father was a lawyer, and we met, and next thing I knew, I was signing a lease in his father's building for my first office.
Wow.
And and to tell you the truth, I didn't have a pot to piss in.
Because you didn't come from
No,
a
I
wealthy
didn't come
family.
from-
You earned everything. That's the most amazing story. It's the American dream. You came out of high school, got a full scholarship to college. You took advantage of that. So you didn't have any loans, nothing. You excelled at academics, went to dental school, and then they helped with tuition, grants, and
Right.
loans.
Right.
And then you go on and
Well, I just want to step back. My father always told me, because I had the full scholarship, you have an opportunity now, don't waste it. And that's how I felt. I wasn't going to waste it. I wasn't going to goof around. I wanted to get good grades and proceed to do what I wanted to do in a profession.
and I took the same advice.
I told you, don't waste this opportunity. I'm paying for it.
You started working for someone, and then you took the whole practice, and you basically grew it tremendously.
Right. And then I knew I could run my own practice better than he could. And then I set up my own office 3 days a week, still working for him. And within about a month, I had to leave. I was too busy in my own office.
Wow.
And then within a year, I had an associate. I was very lucky and successful.
And so when you started building this practice, how did you do it? Like, how did you manage? Now you had an associate. I remember I used to go there as a little kid. It was like a real business. You had like an office manager.
Right.
You had someone at the front desk. You had a lot of people working for you. That's a
Right.
that's a real.
That's the only way to do it right.
And you just figured it out just on your own. And
Well, I took a couple practice management courses, but I knew how I wanted to do it. I wanted to run it like a business, not a candy store. And, I had somebody just for x-ray, somebody to answer the phone, somebody to do the billing and collecting. And I always had an assistant next to me. And when we had other doctors, I always made sure that they had assistants with them all full time.
And what year was this that you opened up the practice?
74.
74. So there was no internet.
Oh, no. I opened the practice in 75, but I got out of school early in 73, went to work for somebody. In 74, I started my own office.
Okay.
And I was like 24.
And when you start your own office, you have no patients.
Yep.
There's no internet. So how do you build your book of business?
Word of mouth.
Wow.
Word of mouth. Also, I went to a prestigious dental school, Ivy League, and other doctors appreciated that. They knew and refer. When I opened up, most dentists had degrees of DDS.
Okay.
I got, the way I graduated, I had a DMD. And a lot of people didn't know, but DMD has gotten watered down. But I was trained to treat medically compensated patients also.
Okay. And another unique thing is you used to drive around with a certain license plate. How'd you get that? The dentist license plate, the only one in the state of New Jersey would drive around with the dentist license. Like, how is that possible?
It had dentist on it. That was the lettering on the plate from the state. I just requested it from the state, and I don't take no for an answer, and I got it.
I learned that from you too.
Right.
You always told me, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and you always got to speak up because no one will ever speak up for you.
Right.
This is just life lessons.
Right.
Now, and I remember we used to go to the movie cinema, General Cinema, I used to go there with you, and then you see your advertisement pop up, and
Yep. Yep. We advertised in the movie cinema, free movies, and my office took care of that. Yep.
that's great. So now you're doing very well in dentistry. You're doing phenomenal. When you're working as a dentist, how did you get into, like, what motivated you to start getting into investing?
Well, first of all, when I worked long hours to put this practice together and pay all the bills, and I worked evenings and weekends. But what I realized is you can only make so much with your hands. I needed a way to make money, let my money make money for me. So I started investing in real estate.
Okay. Now, typically when you're dentist, you're doing well for yourself, you're a high income earner, some type of, it doesn't have to be a dentist or a medical professional, just someone that's doing well financially.
Absolutely.
They teach you what? They teach you to speak to a financial advisor, or
No, never, they never taught me that.
but that's just the mainstream media leads you to believe they have authority, and
Right.
and this is the way to go, right? They sent them to your school too, right? To try to
Oh yeah, we got to talk to them, but everybody, they're all only interested in their commissions.
their commissions. Okay,
As I always said, brokers make you broke.
makes sense. Now, I used to hear you on the phone with your stockbroker before the discount brokers.
Right.
Now they have free trading commission, but
Right.
this is back in the day. How'd that work out for you?
I didn't do well. I realized the stock market is a dangerous game. I lost money, and I really didn't rely on it. They know nothing more than you know, and they're restricted on what they can advise you of. One of the big houses, they won't let you do things. So I knew I had to step up my game, and I learned to invest and start buying real estate.
The market goes in cycles, as you've learned. You had the S&L crisis, the tech bubble, the .coms.
Yes.
I remember that with Amazon. And then also you had the financial crisis in 2008.
Right.
If you just followed your advisors, where would you be?
I wouldn't have been so successful because they don't really give you better advice. You have to learn to take control and take responsibility. I've always said that to you. You got to take your own responsibility. I would never have been successful. I was never happy when I was investing with brokers. They don't give you any better advice.
And they're always trying to sell you something.
That's right, and make commissions.
They want to back when you started back in, let's say, the
Commissions were extensive.
90s. They would churn your money and want to trade a lot.
Yes.
And then they cracked down on that later on.
And if you looked at how much you were paying in commissions, it was crazy. I've always said your best investment is yourself. I've always said that to you.
I remember you used to read a lot of books.
Yes.
And you would study. I remember you used to try doing it yourself, the trading.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Which never worked out that much better anyway.
No, it never worked out. I remember I used to come downstairs when I was a little kid, and you're like trading. You're like, oh, I just lost $100,000. And I was like, oh. But I didn't really understand.
I don't know that much, but yes.
You mentioned that these financial advisors, or brokers, they never advised you to buy any houses.
No, that wasn't in their field, no. But I did find a company that had me invest in real estate. And I'm very happy because to this day, I still own six of my properties I bought with them. And I've invested into other properties like in Brooklyn and brownstones. And that has been very productive. But I've sold a couple of those.
But before that, you got into, you were buying houses. You invested with some good friends and some syndications.
Yes.
You also built some stuff too.
Yeah. Bought some land that was, McDonald's came to me and they had a piece of property. And I bought the property. And then I decided I was going to learn about that. Hired an engineer, an architect. Went in front of the planning board, and I eventually got a building approved that I built an office building of
So
6
you're
units.
like a developer in a way.
In a way,
You worked with the town. You had to go through. That's what developers do. You had a vision. You bought a piece of property and you built it from the ground up. And you had to
Yes.
work the politics. You had a lot of problems.
oh,
So you start out active investing. Tell us. There's a lot of stuff with acting, and eventually you transition to passive investing, which we'll get into a little bit of some experience. But tell us what made you not want to be an active investor anymore?
it's always headaches. There's always things coming up. Dealing with tenants could be a nightmare. You get some good ones, but the bad ones ruin your day. And I got tired of it. I don't need a phone call. A lot of tenants don't even want to change their own light bulbs. They can be impossible to deal with. And I want to enjoy life. I didn't want the headaches. At some point, you made your money. I don't want the headaches anymore.
And can you show it? Give us some examples. I know the examples, but share for our listeners of typical tenant issues or typical
Well, not getting your rent paid, you got to call and call. You got to have an attorney, and you got to file for eviction. And the judges are not landlord friendly. And I remember I tried doing a property with Section 8 tenant. It could have been the biggest nightmare in my life. Section 8 threw this person out. They weren't paying the rent. They're going to court with legal aid, and you're paying for an attorney. And the judges, this woman had 4 kids. Judges are not going to throw a woman out with 4 kids on the street just because she's not paying rent. But you have to pay the mortgage in the bank, and people don't understand that. And we can go through a lot
there's
of
a lot
things.
more in that.
Yeah.
You got started, and why did you get into real estate?
To let my money work for itself. As I said, you can only make so much with your hands.
But
You're
why?
limited.
But why real estate? There's a lot of to choose from outside of real estate. But why real estate?
It made the most sense to me. It made the most sense. I'm not one to buy gold. I don't understand that. Why would somebody sell me gold if gold is going up? I would think they'd want to keep it.
It's always that market value anyway.
Right. And gold, you can't eat it, you can't drink it, you can't sleep with it. Well, what's the point?
And it seems like they're always selling it. I mean, if it's so
Well, that's the
valuable, why
question.
don't they keep it?
That's what I've always said. If gold is going up, why are they selling it to you? People don't realize that.
And what is one thing? I mean, I know you told me about real estate. Why do people invest in it?
There's more wealth been made in this world with real estate than anything else. It's the most success. If you look at all the richest people in the world, most people made their money in real estate.
Going back to the multiple cycles, what saved you from the S&L crisis, the tech, the internet bubble back in the 90s, 2008? What helped you to still be where you are today, where you live life on your own terms, not
Right.
have to go back to work?
Right.
What was
Right.
it?
I found that real estate has other benefits. Besides collecting rents, you get depreciation. You get the cash flow depreciation is the key to why real estate is a great investment. People don't understand that. Talking about Mr. Trump, but they don't understand why he didn't pay much taxes. It's the big D, depreciation. Think of all the things he owns. He takes all that depreciation right off on his taxes. Legitimate laws, they pass those laws, and he takes advantage of them. Every right to. And yet they complain, but then change the laws.
So there's many tax benefits.
Many, many tax
Do you get the
benefits.
tax benefits of a W-2 job?
No,
Nothing.
nothing. Not at all.
But a business owner owning real estate, if you use the tax code in your favor,
That's right.
and that's what he did, Trump.
That's right. And the more you're successful, the more you can borrow. The art of borrowing money is another very key thing. Once you own real estate, your credit scores go up, your portfolio looks better, and you can name the world what you want.
And one thing for a lot of professionals out there that I really want you to give them hope, because you were able to retire at what age?
I retired in 2000, so I retired around 51, 52.
It's amazing. All because you didn't listen to the financial planners. The only thing you did listen to was your annuity. Your self-directed IRA.
Right.
But they rolled it in at the bottom.
Right. Yeah. But I do want to say, one of the reasons I retired, I reconsidered what was going on in the world right after 9/11, and it put more value on certain things in life to me.
And also, the occupation you had, was it easy going?
No. Being a dentist, it can be stressful. Everybody thinks you're making a fortune, but you're working hard.
But the one thing you did is that you were able to build real wealth.
Yes.
That's the thing that you built up so much equity from your holdings, and eventually these properties are appreciating.
Yes.
You had cash flow.
Right. That's the other thing too. Not only do you get depreciation, but you get appreciation of the value of things you own.
Unlike stocks,
They go down.
you don't even get the tax benefit. You have all these losses,
That's right. What do they let you write off? $3,000 a year?
and you have substantial losses. And you told me, what if you
I always told you, stay out of the market.
stay out of market? And I got into it, and just real estate's my focus now. But now,
You got hurt too, and you learned.
yeah, I learned how to test the waters.
The market can be a sucker's game. You might as well just go to the casino and put it on red.
You don't want to be a landlord. You always had to deal with all the nuances of being a landlord. How did you get, you also invested, you started passively, but you were still active because there's some friends, the good friends in some apartment buildings.
Right.
And granted, you have property management, but it's still, you gotta monitor. You're not just blind.
Right.
You gotta still monitor what's going on, and ultimately you have phone calls, and you have to make a decision.
Right. What happened was I found out about this certain company, and through them, I would just invest in fund, and they would give me, I would buy properties from them, and they would build it, and then I would own it. So you were buying property more wholesale, and then they would rent. Then they had a management part of it, and they managed the properties for you. And to this day, I still own 6 of those properties. I sold a couple, and I've done very well with them. But I've also they had me fund other people like me.
That's what you got involved into the
Funding.
the private lending.
Right. I did private lending through them to other people who were investing with them, didn't have the finances.
Actually, that's how I got started. This is back, I think, was it 2012?
Somewhere around there.
And this changed my life. I learned all about hard money lending.
Right. Hard money lending. And I was doing that through them.
And then you got involved through a good friend of yours that introduced you to a hard money lender. They were paying out a very nice return. This is probably around 2014. It was around there where the market changed. A lot of Wall Street money came into the market. Rates were lower because of the competitive nature of it became an interest rate competitive environment where they had to lend out for less, meaning they had to pay us less.
Right.
And then I thought, wait a second.
We could do this ourselves.
It doesn't take a rocket science. I'm in grad school at that time.
Right.
We're talking about a single family house, underwrite a loan, and make a loan.
Originated a loan mortgage to these people, yes.
It was very simple.
Right.
It's still a lot of work. I know that you tried doing it on your own without me. I said, hey, I could help you do this. But then you decided you could also do it yourself. These loans that you put out did not work out.
Right.
And now what do you do?
Well, I had to realize that I have to vet these deals better. And I asked you to just step in and start vetting these deals for me. And you were taking over on that.
Someone's going to look to, they're going to want to fix their tooth, or they're going to have someone not licensed
Right.
to practice dentistry.
Right.
fix their tooth.
Right. I wanted a professional. You went to school for this. I paid all the tuition, and it's time for me to get payback. I let you vet.
But also another thing is that when you're lending money, it's a full-time job. And these are generally short-term loans. They're paid back, and then you have to go find the borrower again, and you got to go through the whole process again.
Yes.
So it's work.
I just want to enjoy life at this point. I'm not a youngster.
We're in Palm Beach,
Right.
Palm Beach County.
Right.
You live in a nice community. You have golf courses here. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to have to worry about trying to find another borrower, trying to find another deal, or
Right.
looking at a deal and going over all the numbers.
Yeah.
All you care about is how much money you need, what is it making, and when am I getting it back?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
I think I hit the nail on that. I think I know how you work.
Right.
You got involved with this one company that you started. That's how your passive investing journey started.
Right.
You started you started investing in wholesale houses. It became syndications.
Yes.
In different parts of like Brooklyn, and now you're invested in their fund. Their strategy is phenomenal. We know that.
Successful.
We
Yeah.
know that they have a track record. We know that they had the financial strength. I seen their financials.
Right.
I know they're pretty solid.
I'm amazed.
They have a competent management team. That's why I feel comfortable with them. I look over everything like a
Right.
hawk. But granted, you know them. I mean, you've been with them for how
I've
long?
been with them almost at their inception. So we have a relationship now.
When you first started, remember they're one of their special clients.
Right. They would say, right.
Now, that's your first journey with passive investing, and then ultimately, like you started, I helped develop new relationships because at the end of the day, this is a relationship business. That's the key. You start to develop a relationship, and then the deals start coming, and you can kind of negotiate better terms for yourself because when you're writing a large check,
That's right. We learned that, or I learned that, and you knew that. I'm entitled to special incentives when you're writing large checks. Yes.
and that leads me to the business that we're doing now. Unfortunately, everybody's heard of Bernie Madoff. The Jobs
That's
Act.
the problem.
The Jobs Act happened in 2012, where now everybody could advertise. There's a lot of
A lot of scams out there.
A lot of scams. There's a plethora of sponsors always looking for capital. I mean, I know you get solicited all the time. You get like letters in the mail that come to a dinner and and this and that, and
Very rarely do it.
and you're generally a target. Being a high income earner, that's who they're trained to go after.
Exactly.
And I know myself. To me, my red, like my antenna goes off, my alarm. Like I'm always skeptical of everybody and everything because you have to be. You have to be paranoid that with your money. You need to, you worked very hard for it. And that's why we're here today, because I know the struggles you've been through. I know how hard you worked. And I know you want to help people. So I want people to understand your story, that it is possible to obtain financial freedom. It is possible to do it on your own. But at the end of the day, when you're doing your own, it's still a full-time job.
That's right.
And to really be truly passive is when you could invest with a company or invest with or someone help manage your hard monies and really do all the due diligence. You can always hire someone to help you. I know wealth managers, they manage high net worth money. What they do, they have people on their team or they outsource professionals to review and really perform due diligence to make sure that their money is protected. Now, so tell us going back, so what is a mistake that you did when you started investing passively on your own? Like, what did you not do?
I didn't vet the people properly. Some of the stuff. And, you have to understand, you learn from your mistakes.
And that's, I remember when you came to me on this, I started looking in, and actually I uncovered a lot of things.
Right.
And I saw a lot of red flags. I'm like, Dad, let me try to help you. And yes, you're recouping your skin. It's very tough. But now going forward, there's always deals coming, but I'm really trying to help. And what we realized too is like, you don't need to have a lot of investment companies to work with. You just need a few of them.
You just need some good quality ones.
Good quality. But the thing is, they're gonna always try to flash like very high returns to you. They're always gonna try to show you the numbers. But the number one thing that what I learned and what I showed you was it's the sponsor, the people you're investing with. That's the number one thing you should look at.
Absolutely, 100%. Their track record. Yes.
The financial strength.
Right.
You want and actually I have a blueprint that I put together, and we reviewed it together, and these are the actual things that we use when we're analyzing, and that's something that I want to share with people because it's really a valuable tool, and really it was time-tested experience, and also not just from us but also from dealing with professionals in the industry, what they do. The more institutional or the smart money, they use the same systems that we're using. And this is a relationship business, and that's really how I learned. And I passed this information to you, and now you're smart. Now you're much wiser in doing this. But the one thing is, you don't want to really be involved anymore.
No, I've paid my dues. I'm about enjoying life.
You enjoy life, and you play golf. And
right.
So you had your IRA money.
Yes.
And what was that?
I'll go over that. The market crashed. What was that? The 2008, 2010, and I realized that in my IRA I had about I don't know, 800,000 or something like that, and it crashed down to about 50% less. And I go, I can't watch this anymore. And I decided, from advice, to throw it all into an annuity and let the annuity handle it. It's backed up by insurance and guarantees, and I could get 6% guaranteed no matter what, or whatever the market return was. And I decided to throw it into an annuity. Now I realize after analyzing annuities that they're not exactly perfect. There's a lot of fees in them, and you're paying big fees. But that annuity, within 10 years, started at 400, was worth about $1 million. And then I had people evaluate, and I got out because then the fees get really excessive as it's growing in value. And I threw it into real estate, and I put a lot of it into these two companies I invest in.
One of them I'm actually a partner in.
Right, you're a partner in the one, RCAP.
And what's funny is that, number one, I'm going to step back about when you got in 10 years ago, usually they say it cycles like 10 years.
Right.
You got in at the bottom.
Yep.
You could throw a dart at a stock and it's going to go up.
Right.
So it wasn't like it took a genius to,
right.
You got in at the right time.
I did.
But what happens if you get in?
I got in at the wrong time because I should have got in when my value was up in my.
No. But you sold out at the bottom.
Right.
But you put your money into annuity at the right time.
Yes.
But what happens if you would have put that both at the wrong time? You would have been screwed.
Right. Well, I wanted a guaranteed investment, guaranteed return, and I could just put it aside. And
the only thing that's guaranteed in life is death and taxes.
Yep.
So you want something where you're mitigating risk, you're protecting yourself.
Right.
You did well with your annuity, but it just happened to be at the right timing. Okay. This professional you had, I remember like it was yesterday, was trying to really steer you into what he wanted was these structured notes. And I said, look, Dad, you could actually invest in real estate with that. You had no idea.
Right.
Right. And I remember we set up with a custodian company to help move your money to what is called a self-directed IRA.
That is correct. Which is better than most people IRA. You can't control them. They have you invest in certain things and you have no control. Self-directed, I invest in what I want. And I invest my IRA self-directed into real estate.
And one thing you told me though was when you got involved with the self-directed monies and even with your other monies, I remember when you were investing a lot in stocks, You told me you wish you would have been so much. You would have had a substantially more wealth if you would have known this stuff that you knew now than you did back when you first started.
Yes. You can't buy experience. You got to learn it.
And this is for people. This is why we want to share this with other people, because they have no idea. They want you to believe that, find an advisor, invest and put your trust in them, and that's it. Don't look. You have no idea about the alternative investments out there. You have no idea. And
True.
But then again, you have to be careful, because you gotta make sure you're choosing. You gotta be careful who you invest with. With your IRA money, you're invested with a few companies. One of them actually I'm a partner in, and how's this working out for you?
Terrific. I get a nice return every month.
And it's tax deferred.
Tax deferred.
That was Roth. It was a Roth IRA?
No, it's just a self-directed IRA.
Was it pre-tax? I forget.
No, not pre-tax.
So you would pay tax at the end?
Yes, when I come out of it.
Okay, so that's the difference. So there's certain things that obviously we could talk about later on about that. Tell us a little bit more about any thing you recommend to someone beginning. Let's say they want to follow your journey. What do you recommend for them? How do they get started?
I've told you that a million times. Your best investment is yourself.
Okay.
Invest in yourself before you do anything. And I learned that from my dad. He always said that. So buy yourself, if you can start a business, buy yourself your home. These are the best. Then you can look for other things.
And that's what you did too, because you would buy a home,
right?
You would move out, and then put tenants in it and buy something else.
Yes.
And you did that multiple times.
Yes.
Now, any tips for a doctor starting out? Like if they work for someone, they're at a medical school. Any tips to get to, like, how to get to your level?
Well, they have to. You can only. Well, I would recommend that they try to become a partner or start their own practice. And if you're in any other field, become a partner within the company. Just do well. That's your best investment.
And if someone wants advice, are you open for a conversation?
Majority of times,
Majority of time, if they have a question.
Right.
I know you have a lot of knowledge to share with running a practice or how to set up to run like a business, because I know when I walked in the dental offices, it's like a one-man show.
Right.
It's not ran like a business.
Right.
And you can show them how to actually run it like a business.
Right.
I know, and this is not like there's a lot of gurus out there you gotta be careful of too.
Right.
But you're just a nice person. You actually just like to help people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'll give free advice whenever I can.
Because hey, people were there for you.
That's right.
So now you want to pass on the knowledge.
Right. Something, you reminded me of something. When I started my first office, and I told you I didn't have really any money, I got lucky because I met the right person. His father was a lawyer, and I wanted to start my office, and I needed, in those days, in the 70s, about $80,000, and I didn't have it. So he told me, just go to the bank, speak to a certain guy, and ask for a loan, and he'll give it to you. I didn't realize the fellow giving me the advice was the president of the bank. I was like, it was very easy. Today they want collateral, but he asked me, what's your collateral? And I go, me. Okay, come pick up your check tomorrow.
What year was this?
74, 75. And that's how I started
It's
my
probably
first
a little
office.
easier to get bank money back then.
It was.
A lot easier.
It was, but it was truthful. I said, I'm my own collateral. Have you ever seen a professional really fail? I said, I'll do well. And he knew it. And I borrowed like $80,000 just like that.
Which is it's a lot more today with inflation.
Right,
right. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. So I really, a lot of people out there need to know this stuff, that they could do it. You were like someone that I look up to. I know other people do. that you're able to come from nothing.
Right.
You didn't have a silver spoon.
Nope.
Nothing. Your parents, obviously, they were good parents. They were there for you, but they didn't have the financials to be able to pay your way through
No.
school.
Nope.
You did it for yourself. You're actually like, you were self-made,
Okay.
which is, I know you don't like to, very humble about, but it's the truth.
Right.
And it's possible. Anybody, I mean, look, not to say that anybody can do it is not, people say that, but the point is, it takes discipline. You were very disciplined. You didn't go out and party.
No.
You studied, you hit
Yes.
the books.
Yep.
You always invested in yourself. You took advantages of opportunities that came, and you did it. And then you were always investing in yourself too. You wanted something more, and you.
Remember what I once told you? Watch what the stupid people do and do the opposite, and you'll be successful.
See people doing drugs,
Yeah.
partying. You know, where are they today?
Right.
Probably,
Right.
you know, but you stayed on a straight path.
Right.
And for the wrestlers out there, you have any advice?
For the wrestlers.
Yeah, like your secret to success. Like, how'd you do it?
Yeah. I was very dedicated to the sport and worked hard.
What was your favorite wrestling move?
Oh, I had a lot of them. As my coach used to say, Stewart doesn't want to win, he wants to punish.
What's the punch? Yeah. And then in UConn, you were
New England champion.
two-time New England champion.
Yeah.
And you got invited to the nationals and a
Well,
lot
I was invited. I didn't go.
because you felt bad.
I had my studies. I had work.
Well,
to
you
do.
had studies too, and you were the only one that had invited out there. And you had your studies, and then you went to dental school, which that must have been very stressful. A lot of people were struggled. I remember you telling me stories.
Yeah, but I didn't let it stress me. I didn't get that.
How'd
stress.
you like for people listening? 'Cause I know there's a lot.
I don't think we should go.
Well, this is good stuff. This is good advice for people listening. How did you manage your stress? Because a lot of people they turn to drugs, alcohol. You weren't one to drink. You weren't one to do drugs. Like, how did you manage it?
Things don't stress me out. I deal with it.
You deal with it. It's a certain mindset.
Yeah, I say, okay, I'll deal with it, and I deal with it. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, this is what I learned. You know, life's stressful, and I looked at you, and you would take care of things and always figure things out. Always figure something out.
Right.
Everything is figure outable.
Right.
And I know I read that book. It's a certain author, but it's true. It's
Right.
like you know, you could always figure something out.
Right.
Now you're in a different stage of life. You've done very well for yourself. You're living, you're living in a country club. You just bought another house, another country club. How do you what do you do now in terms of managing your stuff? Like, what do you recommend for someone else that needs a resource to really manage their investments and stuff? Like, do you they could?
The only thing I say is get good people around you. Take their advice. But, understand it. Make sure they're quality people.
That's exactly what I was thinking myself. It's really the people around you. Because there's a lot of people that you hear stories that athletes, they had their manager, they're making all this money, all of a sudden the money's gone.
Yep.
They had the wrong people around them.
It's immaturity and they're not well thought out.
Well, so it's really the quality of people that you have around you.
Yes.
And that's what helped you. And that's what helps me too. It's the people around me as well. And I'm learning. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
Nope.
That's the wrong room to be in.
Get advice. There's no harm in getting advice. Get advice from good people.
Did you have a mentor growing up?
My dad would give some advice if I asked him.
I know, whenever I need something, I always call you up and say, hey, I have a question about something. And you'd always tell me how to handle it. I remember schoolwork, you were always there for me, helping me with my studies. That's actually something that was a benefit for me because you were very good in math and science.
Right.
And when I first started out, I didn't really like the financial stuff. But actually, what's really interesting is later on in graduate school, I fell in love with it because I actually understood why I'm doing this stuff.
You didn't apply yourself until you found courses that you liked.
Yeah.
You didn't do well in the courses if you didn't like them. I knew that.
Yeah, but then what was interesting is I studied the finance, time value of money, and I'm like, why am I ever going to use this? And then when I went to like graduate school, all that knowledge that I took in, it clicked. I started to realize like, oh, that's why you're doing this. And now I'm actually using it. I'm like, this is amazing. And I was working for a developer at that time.
Right.
So then I'm studying the investments. And I'm actually taking what I'm studying in graduate school. And I'm like, wow, now I'm doing it in real life. And then I started helping you out. And it all just made sense.
Right.
So it's amazing. And any more tips on someone that's looking to start a dental practice? Any other tips that you want to share? I know you're full of them.
They, get a good practice management team or book and learn. I don't want to knock other people and say things, but some people just don't. If you're a one-man office and you have one girl, she's going to handle all these things in sterilization. It doesn't work. You have to have people do a lot of things so you can do your job correctly. And that's how we ran our office. At one time, I had 17 employees. A lot were part-time, but everybody had their duties. And it just looks very professional, and you get it done right.
And you grew to a large
office.
You were very busy.
Right. Yeah, we ended up having 4 doctors and 17 auxiliary people. And I sometimes walk into offices and go, I don't get it. I don't want to knock people.
So I know you don't want to knock people. It's also the dentist, the quality of the dentist that you have. You have to be careful what school they went to.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you telling me certain schools, like, nope, I'm not dealing with that no more.
Right.
Because you had that experience of hiring them. I remember I used to come to your office and you would, when I was a little kid. Anything else that you want to share? Another tip? Because I know that there's a lot.
I don't have many more tips. Just work hard. It will all come. America is a great country. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of so many ways to make money in this country. I feel bad for the people who have no clue and can't make any money. If you're looking for entitlement, wake up.
There you have it. Mentor, someone that I really look up to, has always been there for me. And he gives his story. Thank you so much. There we have it. Someone that, like you, you've been involved in real estate for over 30 years, investing in general 30 years. It wasn't like you started on and off. You've been in the trenches for 30 years actively. And you've been through multiple cycles. You've seen what things look like. You've been around through people trying to pitch you deal after deal. But with the wealth, you never gambled. You always made sure to preserve your wealth.
Right.
You did well for yourself. And you were proactive. You always studied. You helped build my education. And now you're living good because I'm helping you with your investments.
Right.
And you could do the same thing. You could find someone else to help you manage. Make sure it's quality. Look at the management team. What I realized is it's very hard to do things on your own, and you can't be a jack of all trades.
That's right.
And so what I did was I was like, okay, well, I met someone, became a good friend of mine. He actually wanted to start learning about real estate. He's working full time. At that time, I was with Goldman. He does very well for himself. He's a CFA, he's a CPA. And I'm like, you know what? I want you to partner with me. Because I'm going to teach you the real estate, but you'll figure it out very fast because it's just numbers. Mm-hmm. And so what he helps me do is he helps me look over all the financials and the numbers because we're partners. It's someone very close to me. And the goal is to build wealth together and to help other people build wealth. And that's it. It's really the people that you have around you. And that's what I've done. And I know you surround yourself with the right people. And that's how you're here living, life on your terms. And most people, they don't realize that they could live on their own terms. There are alternative ways out there. You just have to study. You have to read. I know I read a lot. I mean, you read a lot. I know you do. You're always reading what's going on in the world. I'm always studying because you have to know what's going on. It never ends. You have to always study because things are always changing, and you gotta, as you know, you gotta always be investing in yourself.
Yep. You got to keep up with everything.
Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Thank you, Dad, for being here as our guest.
I was proud that you asked me. Thank you.
Really appreciate all the just the life. This is real life stuff, unrehearsed. I created Levine Capital because of my father. The reason why I created was because I wanted to help him, and I wanted to help protect him. And then what I realized was later on is that there's a lot of other people just like him that need help. So I want to help other people. And the whole idea is to share knowledge. And I want to just help and share knowledge. And if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out. If you need to find me, you could find me at LevineCapital.com. You could email me at adam@LevineCapital.com. You need my father, reach out to me. You can find me. I have a Facebook. I have a LinkedIn. I have an Instagram. Feel free to reach out with anything that you need. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is not going to be the last interview. Ask away. Share messages, share your feedback, share other ideas, and we'll get back on here again. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.